I hop out the car, leave the motor running. Why you always talking like you know something? Why you always talking, going show 'em something? No stunt double, I do my own stunt. Could take a year, I'll still have that paper coming. Put like 10 on the 90, I keep it so on it. All in the club, we don't do no clubbing. Throw like 10 on the 90, I keep it so on it. Orange label, I might pop me too.
Look at these guys over here. Hey, how you doing? Oh man, amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then, you know, hey, nothing but a mild, global warmed Winchester wiener to me. How you guys doing today? Yeah. Oh, what do you guys do? Cool. I actually know a guy who could use a little paint and drywall help. You ever heard of a Joe Guerrero? You never heard of Joe Guerrero? The Joseph P. Guerrero? The co-founder, that's right, I said co-founder, not the founder, the co-founder of the After Prison Show. In fact, I don't even think he actually created the After Prison Show. Somebody else did that. Yeah. I think somebody else may have even supplied the camera, supplied the car, supplied the editing, and actually created the YouTube channel, not Joseph P. Guerrero, but a mystery man. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to solve the mystery. That's what I'm going to reveal in just a few moments here on Prison Junkie, an exclusive, the real creator and founder of the After Prison Show. Well, co-founder. Intrigued? I know you are.
What did you bring to the table?
Absolutely everything. The ride, the camera, the computer, editing. Not only was I used from a YouTube aspect, I was also used in a personal life aspect. Like I said, rides, not just rides to go do interviews, rides to go to work, you know, rides to the probation office, you know, whatever. If I had it, it was his.
Him run upstairs and he's basically manic at this point. I mean, and he comes up and he gets right in my face and says,
Okay. I know what you guys want, but first, let's just take a little step back, rewind, and I gotta pull up some old clips here. I got it here. Hold up. I got it. Okay, right here.
So let's go back to getting us a little bit more about what you did. So you're in the concrete plant, you start doing the videos, and you must learn something. You must have to train yourself and quite another to learn how to do thumbnails and production and all the things that you have done. Can you walk us through how you started that process of learning how to really understand YouTube?
But in terms of learning all of this, I mean, most of this was self-taught.
I'm going to ask Joe a question, and this might surprise some of you when I tell you. How much money do you think it did you have to have in capital to start the After Prison Show?
Nothing. Sad as this is gonna sound, it's the damn truth. You have got to come home, or you have got to get through whatever situation that you're in, and sometimes you have got to be
Selfish about it. Sometimes you have got to think about you first.
Man, forget the girl. You gotta be selfish, because where you're at right now, you're the only one who is there. You're there, your friends ain't there, your girl ain't there, your family ain't there, and you can't do nothing else for nobody else until you get you right first. When I came home on October 13, 2015, it wasn't a month later that I had found somebody who could help me learn how to use a computer and how to film. And
Here's the video I didn't want to make. In 2015, I had recently been laid off from a job at the Newport News shipyard, which, if you don't know or not from the area, is a very good job. Prior to being laid off, I had found out that my son had been diagnosed with short bowel syndrome, which is a syndrome that most people or kids have, like a post-traumatic experience, like a car accident, but it's where your short bowel or your stomach is too short to be able to absorb nutrients. I say all this to say I was probably one of the worst times in my life I could think about. I was looking to do something a little bit more with my life that made me feel more fulfilled as a person. I was very unhappy. I was very dissatisfied with the way my life was going. Even though I'm a very creative person, you know, I had no outlet for this. I do play music and guitar. So I was looking through Craigslist for a new job, something to start over with. I saw this ad that really caught my eye, talking about starting a YouTube channel, a guy that had done 7 years in prison, looking to do some content chronicling other people's lives that had recently got out of prison. So I shoot him an email, he emails me back, we exchange numbers. He wants me to meet him at a Newport News park. This was right next to where he lived at the time. I go out there and meet him. We spend a couple hours together talking about what I can and can't do, what I bring to the table, what he brings to the table, what his vision for the channel is. We created the title for the After Prison Show. He had multiple ideas for different names, and that name just kind of stuck. It was catchy, kind of rolled off the tongue. Thought it was a good name. So we rolled with the After Prison Show. So after we had done some talking there at the park, go back home, I make the YouTube channel, and we were off to the races. It was to the floor every day, trying to help Joe get this channel off the ground. Video number 1.
So basically, I'm sleeping on the couch now. My girlfriend got a cat the other day, and he's pretty much taken over the bedroom.
Video number 2.
So we're on our way to one of these classes that I have to take for probation. It's called Thinking for a Change. We're shooting this on the way to probation, actually riding through the projects right now, and I was just telling my cameraman, I said, Jesus, we are riding through the projects with a camera. People are gonna think we're the feds out here taking pictures, so.
And things seem to be going really well. He seemed like a pretty genuine character. I was pretty impressed by his ability to be pretty natural on camera. We shoot the first couple videos. Everything seems good, genuine. I remember even getting a little coin from a councilman that told us we were doing such a great job. You know, I was really feeling good about myself. I was feeling good about the whole venture. Started to gain a small following, and during this time, I was taking Joe to work, taking Joe to probation, along with going on pretty big rides like West Virginia.
Yeah, this is what gives me
Gives you what?
the magic pills. This is what gives me a female body.
So you're telling me right now if my cameraman took those pills, he would
have boobs and a butt and hips and
Levi,
all that, so
consider your options here, brother.
Why don't you try it first, we'll see what happens.
But none of this at the moment was any kind of issue to me. I did it very willfully and had no problem, because from the very beginning, Joe had always told me, this is gonna be 50-50. You know, you brought the camera, you brought the computer, you're driving me around. 50-50. I mean, I was putting my life on hold for him, and more importantly, to me, I was putting my life with my child and my wife on hold to be able to do this. So part of the deal with Joe was that there's no way I was gonna be able to take an ex-con tatted up into my mother-in-law's house. She was very Christian lady. Well, part of the deal was that whenever we filmed, I was gonna have to edit this stuff on my own. We would film throughout the day, or 2 days in some cases, with like Kendra. We filmed that over 2 days in West Virginia. Then I would go back home, go through the footage, edit it all out. Me and Joe would do a little Skype call. I'd show him the finished product, and sometimes he would, you know, say, hey, why don't we add this or that? But for the majority of the video, it was me doing most of the work. So a couple videos in, me and Joe had gotten low on funds, and I was already driving to work anyway, so I decided to put in my application at the temp service and work with him at the laundromat.
Got my cameraman working with me this evening, so that'll be pretty interesting. Never seen this guy work before, so definitely gonna find out what his work ethic is like. He's definitely great with the camera, so.
When we get there, I mean, literally the biggest pile of clothes. There was no one here that spoke English. And there was an old white man that was the boss who would sit in the corner and smoke tobacco. I had gotten a text from my wife, and this old man was right here. He said, I don't know who the hell you are, but you're not gonna be on your phone on my clock. So I bite my tongue, yes sir. Instantly turns to this black guy that's right next to me and says, and you better fold faster. And the black guy was having none of this. He said, I don't know who the fuck you're talking to, but you're not gonna talk to me like that. There's no way. Like, you're not gonna disrespect me. Blah, 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 goes off on him. The old man didn't say anything, but he turned just straight beet red. And then he comes back with punch cards. Everybody from the temp service. And he said, all right, guys, everybody can go home. He didn't just send me, the black guy. He sent everybody that was there with the temp service home. So I felt a little bad about that. But Joe had the whole office job coming up, so he wasn't concerned about it. I wasn't concerned about it. And now it's just kind of a funny story that I still think back on with Joe. Work continued as usual. We continued to shoot videos. Joe worked his jobs. Out of temp agency, you get a lot of roll around. Sometimes, sometimes it'll be a day job here or there. Sometimes, he got his little flagging license, so sometimes he was a flagger.
You mean like the dude that's...
Yeah, stop sign, go, stop, go. Perfect job for Joe. Simple, don't need a lot of instruction. Everybody else does the hard work,
He takes all the credit.
Right up Joe's alley. But that's when things kind of got a little peculiar. I remember one day I went over to his apartment. We were planning to shoot a video, and I can't really remember what video we were going to shoot that day, but his girlfriend was not a big fan of the channel and thought it was just a huge waste of time. Tried to help Joe, and I really think, you've got the personality to make it. I think you should push forward. Don't let these people bring you down. Just keep pushing through. So what I found interesting about this girl more than anything was that she was with Joe, but she had a super high moral standard. She didn't cuss, she didn't drink, she didn't do drugs. A classy woman in my eyes. There was little peculiar things that, looking back on, should have been huge major red flags. At the moment, I was overlooking, whether it be because I might personally gain from this, selfishness. He's got out of prison, his mental state isn't just as he wanted it to be, he was going through a lot. He told me that this girl, one of the bigger reasons he was with her is because when he got out of prison, he didn't have anywhere to stay. And, she filled that gap for him. So at the moment, there was nothing he could do to leave. But one day, me and Joe planned on shooting a video. And when I had showed up to the house that day, him and his girlfriend were really, really getting into it. Finally, she had had enough, and she said, I'm out, I'm going. She walks out, Joe follows. I stay in the apartment. He's gone for 5 or 10 minutes. That's when I hear the door slam, him run back upstairs, and he's just pacing the apartment in just manic madness. And I'd never seen Joe like this. The whole time I've seen him, it was just humble, nice Joe. And that's when he just gets right up in my face and he's like, Levi, I beat this bitch's ass. I mean, I just grabbed her by her throat and I lost it. I couldn't control myself. And I just froze for a moment. I didn't know what to say. I just never expected this. Looking back on it, I really feel bad because at that moment I should have done something. Whether it be slap him in the face, beat him down like he beat his girlfriend down, call the police. There was a million things that I could have done in that situation. But I asked Joe, I said, what's wrong with you? You know, you're on parole, man. Like, if you get caught beating another woman, I mean, you're done. This whole thing, this whole show, it's over. And he obviously saw that I wasn't okay with this, so he was apologetic. Yeah, I shouldn't have done it. I just lost my temper. I just couldn't do it anymore. I haven't talked to Jessica since actually here recently, where I actually called her and I apologized, you know, and told her I was sorry that I hadn't done more in the moment. It was a fucked up situation all around. Stupidly enough, I was willing to overlook yet another red flag that he had given me throughout this whole experience. So we continue to shoot videos. Though the editing isn't the best, nor is the filming or anything else, I think we found some pretty interesting characters throughout. I think we had a lot of fun filming. I'll give an example of some of the ways that I went out of my way to try to make this channel in any way better. I called a local radio station.
Today has been a big day for the After Prison series. We got a plug on the radio this morning where my cameraman was actually on the radio this morning talking about the show and had that whole little phone call aired on the radio.
Had them put me on air and told them, hey, we're filming a new reality series here in Hampton Roads, Virginia, and you guys should check it out. Well, through this spark,
the phone call that my cameraman had with the radio station prompted us to get in contact with another female who's coming home after prison.
A woman that had been abused and ended up killing her husband and serving time in prison for it, and it's still up there, you can see it.
I said, I swear if you take another step towards her again, I'm gonna pull the trigger. And he took another step and I fired the gun.
But little did I know how much my hard work would go unappreciated. At the moment, I felt like Joe's partner, that we were not only partners on YouTube, that we were friends. Also at this time, I kind of felt bad for him. I didn't have any friends. I never saw any family come around. I did meet his mom one time, but I don't want to get into his family situation. That's his personal life, and that is what it is.
Did you ever tell, you know, your parents or your wife about?
No, absolutely not. How could I go home and look at my wife in the eyes and tell her I saw another man beat his wife or girlfriend at the time and did pretty much nothing about it?
All right, so what are we doing, folks? You already know what it is. I'm getting ready to share with you guys some stories, some shroom stories.
Another big red flag that I overlooked was there was a time that Joe had come to me and said, look, we're hard up on money and I have a way that I used to do that's pretty quick money and pretty easy. There's this Chinese grocery store right in, I believe, Portsmouth. Well, they sell these dried mushrooms and they look just like psilocybin mushrooms or magic mushrooms. Do you think you have like any friends that could potentially want any of these. And you gotta remember, I was 20 years old, young, dumb, rolling around with an ex-convict shooting a YouTube channel. I was like, well, fuck it, yeah, sure. I mean, if it's gonna be quick, fast money, let's do it. So we went and got the mushrooms, got a scale, scaled some stuff out. We met a couple of my friends in a bar up in Gloucester, I believe. We ended up selling them the shrooms. Well, the rest of them, I think the bag that we bought had like 3 ounces in it. We had this big bag that of the rest of it that we ended up never selling, and I think it sat in my trunk for a long time.
Had you ever sold drugs before? Had you ever left anything, you know?
No, at the time in my life, I don't think I had done anything harder than smoking a little bit of weed. This was a whole new world to me. I'd never even tripped on mushrooms at this point. So after me and Joe had shot about 15 videos or so, my son was still very sick in the hospital and didn't really look like he was recovering. So I came to Joe and said, look, I need to take some time off. My son needs me. I'm not making a lot of money. I'm not taking care of my family. I'm not taking care of the priorities in my life. So I need to take some time off. And Joe assured me, I mean, I felt good about leaving. He said, come back, go take care of your family. The door is open here at After Prison Show. You started this with me, and I will always be here for you. You held me down, you drove me around where I needed to be, you filmed, you did whatever I needed you to do, and I'll be there for you. It wouldn't be but a month or two later when Joe would make the video, how to make a prison tattoo gun, which of course is how he hit it big. At the moment, I couldn't come back. And Joe didn't ask me to come back, but my son still needed me. And I did not want to get caught back up in the moment and not be there when it mattered the most. I didn't know whether my son was gonna make it a year, 6 months. I didn't know, and I didn't want to miss those precious moments in his life. That was all I had. So time goes on. I see him progressively grow and grow and grow. My son was in the hospital for about 9 months. When he came out, I was still working shitty jobs, hating life, barely scraping by. I saw this post that Joe had posted of someone sitting at a computer with him. They looked like they were editing. I messaged him and said, who is this? And he told me, hey, just a local guy that's helping me out for the day. I said, okay, no problem. This would be the same year that I just asked for a couple $100s because I was about to get evicted from my apartment. I was a little hurt that I wasn't brought back onto the show, but it is what it is. And I got into a tight spot into my life where I was not going to be able to pay rent. I thought, you know, hey, maybe Joe will help me out here. I called him on June 13th, 2017. Asked him, he said, hey man, let me run some numbers, let me figure something out. I'll give you a call back. I said, no problem. 2 days later, I messaged him, I said, hey, figure anything out yet? No response. 3 days later, I messaged him, yo, use my last paycheck to get my phone back on so you can call me now too. Just about a month later, I said, it's sad to see the one that was there for you and believed in you when no one gave a fuck about you was the first one you turned your back on. Even when Jessica wanted you to quit and you were even having second thoughts, I was the one who encouraged you and told you you can do it. No one else. So enjoy the people that are dick riding your success, and I guess ignore the people that were day ones for you. I really thought a lot of you and you really let me down, Joe. Suppose you gotta do what you gotta do to get to the top. Good luck. Joe said, you were there for sure. Thank you for that. Would have loved to have been able to bring you back, but it's never been possible. APS hasn't been as successful as you think, and because of that, I haven't been able to do the things I would have liked to, and I'm sorry for that. I said, it's been successful enough to hire other people and hire them lawyers. And when I came to you for help, I feel like you didn't even have enough respect to at least tell me you couldn't. It's just when you asked for help, I dropped everything, denied jobs, dropped my whole life. I never would have asked you for help unless I really needed it. You can say it's not as successful, but it's just hard to see you hire people and live a luxurious life while I'm being evicted and can hardly eat. I helped you create what you have today for anything until now. It really just hurts me that I thought we'd both give our shirt off our back for each other. And to this, again, Joe didn't even have enough respect to message me back. A real punch in the gut. Someone at the time I thought was a friend, not just someone I created a YouTube channel with. And when I hit the hardest point in my life, and he hit the best point in his life, he turned his back on the only person that was there for him when he was at the worst part in his life. So it's fucked up. I let it go for a long time because deep down, I really thought Joe was out to help people. Yeah, he might have been greedy. He might have turned his back on me, but if he was gonna help people, who am I to try to disrupt that? I could have made this years ago, and it probably done way better than it will today. But this isn't about numbers. It's about being a voice to the voiceless. The same reason I felt Jellicoe's story was compelling. Yeah, he made some mistakes, but when one person has a platform to say whatever they want about someone, and then they don't have the platform to respond without feeling like I'm gonna have 1,000 people come back at me and tell me I'm the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. Yes, he did shoot the tattoo video. How painful is a tattoo video? Which, by the way, fake. I had a tattoo before I made that video, which he says, Levi's first tattoo, fake. Never on that video does he mention my previous existence on the After Prison Show, my role. And again, I didn't say anything because I didn't care about recognition, wanted to feel like I wasn't just his Uber and editing machine for, a few months. Like I wasn't just a stepping stone that he stepped on and left behind, like he said he wasn't going to do. Beyond all that, I really just wanted my friend. I really thought of Joe as a friend. I'll never even know why. Maybe he'll respond to me and tell me why. But to this day, I am absolutely clueless. I mean, I could assume.
Like kids, I hate them. I despise them.
Was it my kid? Was it the fear that I might come back and ask for 50% of the channel? There's 3 big reasons why I did not do this in the past and I'm doing this now. One would be I saw what was happening to people whenever they talked about Joe in a negative way.
That soft ass Yonnie fucking millennial man purse satchel fucking metrosexual bullshit? It's for the fucking birds. We don't goddamn fucking, we don't fucking enema our assholes over here. Yo, Volvo driving, ODing in a Barnes & Noble parking lot piece of shit.
Whether it was truth, whether it was false, that's not my place to say. But what I do know is anytime anybody spoke out about Joe, they were absolutely torched. The second reason was I watched videos like The Prison Professor, where he would do the most elaborate dances to not say my name that I've ever seen, and say things like,
How much money do you think did you have to have in capital to start the After Prison Show?
Nothing.
Well, no, not when you have someone else supporting you. So the third reason would be that I heard from multiple reliable sources that Joe had made nearly $200,000 in 2017. I've also heard he was only paying Cody a few $100s a week. I wasn't looking for no 50-50 cut that I thought I'd come back. I can't take the work that Joe put into the channel when I left away from him. I can't. But I thought he could have at least given me a job. Let me hold a camera. Let me do a little editing. And throughout this time of looking into the After Prison show, I've heard some statements that really caught my ear and made me realize maybe the violence and the aggression that Joe showed that day that I thought was isolated.
About this, and I just snapped. I snapped. I threw the headphones at the wall. I didn't throw them at Cody. I threw the headphones at the wall, and I threw the chair down the stairs from the 3rd floor, like down the stairs. Fuck!
Was more spread out than I thought. He followed that up with,
he fucking snapped on Cody. You know, if y'all could see some of the fucking knockdown, goddamn drag out wars that me and Rabbit have gotten in, we do men shit over here. Like we get real fucking fights and shit.
I looked at, I had to go back and look at the videos. I was like, maybe Rabbit's bigger than I thought. And I'm like, this is a 60-year-old, 5.5-foot man. Kind of reminds me of picking on a woman. You know, I heard about him hitting his editor at the time with a pair of headphones. Complete and utter, like, disgusting things he says about people he was trying to help.
ODing in a Barnes & Noble parking lot piece of shit. Y'all probably never even knew what the Barnes & Noble parking lot background was for.
But then would act like a completely different person on YouTube. So in the same sense, I felt like I saw YouTube Joe. And then at the end of the day, I realized the real Joe is Twitch Joe. Angry, bitter at the world, and just willing to say whatever he can to hurt people and make them feel as small as he does.
Enough. I want to end this with a point. The Barnes & Noble parking lot, that's a real sore spot. I imagine it is. But...
Do you want to say something about your kid that we'll throw in there? Like, I mean, what he has, just to explain, you know. Didn't he get a liver transplant? Or was it bowel
A short bowel transplant.
How long was he in the hospital?
9 months was his first stint. It is in the NICU.
What does that mean?
Neonatal intensive care unit. It's just an intensive care unit for babies. But funny enough, the NICU is only for after you're born. Once you leave the hospital, you can never go back to the NICU ever again. So he spent 9 months there, and I saw a child that was over 2 years old in there.
Meaning that child had been there his entire life.
Right, for 2.5 years, and didn't have any parents there to visit him.
Did you see a lot of kids die? Or, I mean, not physically, like
right,
away, but I mean,
yeah. So there is a code of discretion among parents and among staff in the NICU that if something like that happens, it's just not public. But yes, you do see rooms become empty. People, you see the bed get rolled out with the white sheet. It's the worst gut-wrenching feeling, like seeing that is...
And that's why you want it.
Yeah, because the last thing I wanted to see was is that to happen to my son and me be off shooting a YouTube channel.
It's become pretty apparent that this has been a systematic approach for this guy. You know, this is what he does. He's not without talent. He's not without a voice. On the other hand, he does co-opt a lot of people's material and then sucks them dry like a vampire and then kicks them to the curb. Now the excuse is typically, oh, you know, you relapse on drugs, or because he deals with a lot of people, you know, who have drug problems or have been locked up, you know, so they get locked up for whatever. But with you, you're not an ex-con. You know, you're not a drug addict. Is that why you thought maybe you'd get a different shake?
I didn't understand why I wouldn't. I wouldn't understand any outcome otherwise. I really looked dumb to a lot of my friends and family that I told and believed that Joe was gonna bring me back. And Joe was gonna bring me along with him, you know, that it wasn't.
Give me like a little more aggressive stance, not the open thing, you know, more like this. What is your deal? Come on, man.
What the fuck do you want? What is an aggressive stance?
Like this, not like this.
You're gonna be fucking fired after today. Fucking film. Just film. That's all I need you to do. No more opinions, just film. We're gonna run through this thing, we're gonna get this thing done. I'm telling you right now, I'm over it. I'm so fucking over it.
What is your problem, man? I'm trying to make something fucking good, dude.
Are you?
Yeah. No, I'm not. What do you think? I'm just out here for my fucking health? Jesus.
Husband, and like I just always try to see the good in everything, and no matter how the situation is like, and I know that the physical implication was a very big no-no. However, I cannot say that that's entirely his fault either, because I provoked him so much to get to that point. Like I was, basically telling him to go ahead and, do whatever you want to do, and I'm gonna take everything, and I was ready to fight back, and it was just a lot of provoking, and I know that I was doing that intentionally, knowing that